Three,
Two,
2,
1, action. I knew he was going to do that. Welcome back to JK Rants and Reviews. I'm John, this is Caleb. Today we're going to talk about Child's Play, 1988.
Chucky, killer doll. I mean, killer doll. I'm Brad Dourif, who plays said killer doll.
It starts off with him running down the streets with the cop chasing him.
Yes, and it starts out almost like a 80s cop flick. Like, it totally has that feel. Cop chasing robber. For some reason, there's no backup. I don't know why. I feel like I'm watching Lethal Weapon almost. Mel Gibson's going to pop out of somewhere.
Chris Sarandon's in it. He's the guy who did the Prince and the Princess Bride. He's also been in some other stuff, like Fright Night, and a couple other things I'm sure you've heard of. I actually just met him this last con. Very nice guy. The next day, he actually remembered me, and he said, "Oh man, it's good to see you again. Have a good con," after our photographs were taken. Yeah. So really cool, and we met Wallace Shawn, and he was really cool too. He remembered Brittany, so
yeah, that's awesome.
Switching gears. But yeah, it starts off, they're running down the street, and they have unlimited ammo.
Yes, there is no reload. It's just like Call of Duty, except with a 6-shooter.
Then they go into after his buddy leaves him, Eddie leaves him, they go into a toy store, and that's where he ends up getting shot multiple times. I would definitely shop at that toy store where he gets gunned down. Oh, sweet. So he's like, I gotta find something, and he does his chant, and bam, he goes into the doll, and a homeless guy picks it up and ends up selling it to Andy's mom.
And her boss is the worst boss in the world of bosses that ever bossed.
He's a slimy weasel.
He looks like everything that creeped out of the 1980s as your manager. Like the horseshoe haircut, the bad suit, the glasses, and the attitude. Just, is this your break? Is this how you're going to use your break? We have standard break
But she did have jewelry on the table that she was just like, it'll be fine. And I'm sure they had cameras back in the 80s, but like still, you left a ton of jewelry on the counter. That is one place you probably shouldn't.
Have you tried to find somebody in a JCPenney in the past 10 years?
I don't go to JCPenney. But yeah, so she go downstairs. Like, I think the doll was $200, I want to say.
Yeah, it was something pricey for the time. He basically cut the price in half based on the
he starts off at 50, and I think she talked him down to 20 bucks.
Yeah, it was
20 bucks, 30, 20, 10, 20, yeah.
It was
a steal of a deal,
even for the time. Really high priced doll at a decent price.
It reminds me of the turbo. What's the one? Jingle All the Way. We're just trying to find the Turbo
Man. I need your Turbo Man doll. Right. I need your Turbo Man.
He pays for the Turbo Man doll, like overpriced, and then it just speaks Spanish and it falls apart.
Yeah.
I was like, she didn't even check the box. She's just like, well, this will work. Like, what if it would have fallen out? The poor kid. Go ahead.
If you buy a discount toy, check the box.
Check the box.
Like, I mean,
especially for a 4-year-old, he's gonna open that box.
Yeah. Also, maybe if you're just buying it from some dude on the street, maybe there was voodoo involved. Right.
Well, then going back to the mom's not very bright then, because she's kind of a jerk too, because like it's his birthday. He wakes her up with a nice meal. It's all burnt.
Oh yeah, that was the worst looking meal I've ever seen, and also I could not imagine having to clean that countertop afterwards. It broke my soul. But every time I see that toast.
She's like, you want to open presents? And then she's got this huge box that looks like a good guy doll. What a jerk. Yeah, it's just clothes.
It's clothes. I can't tell you how many times I was like, toy, and it was clothes.
And that's so sad how shattering that is as a child. You're like, like you don't care. Like getting clothes is like less excited than getting like macaroni and cheese for dinner. Like getting clothes for Christmas or any special occasion when you're a kid, you just don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't.
No, I was just like, well, that was a big box full of nothingness.
I was like, God, that was mean. And so then when she comes home, she's the savior.
Yeah.
For about 30 minutes.
Yeah. No, it was kind of crazy how it was just like all of a sudden she's great because she was able to afford a toy that you can kind of get that they can't really afford a whole lot based on. She gets them the tool set, which is probably like the $20 add-on piece.
Right.
And the doll itself is the high end.
But I mean, for a single mom, especially, and you find out later that the dad had passed. But yeah, this movie just like it just goes from the beginning. Like you start off with a shootout. He transfers his soul into the doll. Then the mom buys the doll. Then the sister or the friend has to stay with Andy because she has to work because that horrible manager.
Yep.
And then that's when the first killing well, other than Charles Lee Ray, that's when like she gets hit in the face and goes out the window. I would say Alex Vincent does a great job as a child actor. I mean, he is super adorable in this show. Like that kid voice is like the sweetest, kindest, like innocence child voice ever on screen. Like ever.
We're gonna disagree here.
Really?
I hated him in the first Child's
Oh,
Play.
really?
It's not actually until the second one that I started to like him. The first movie, I
See,
like him in the
I kind of like
end.
him less in the second one.
I like him by the end, but at the beginning, I hated that kid. Like, I was just like, oh god, get off the screen.
Wake up.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm sleeping.
Right.
Go away.
It's just like 6:30 in the morning. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like the only slow moments in this movie is, of course, the middle. But when he takes the doll to go get Eddie, it's on the train ride, and then all that.
The way that the cinematography is by this middle chunk of the movie. So you're getting him, you're getting the train ride, you're getting where Andy's like, I have to go to the bathroom. You stay here, Chucky. And Chucky's looking for Eddie at that point. I know that Candyman came after this, but everything felt like Candyman. Like all the just the way it was, the music,
Right.
I think Candyman
It was really
maybe
creepy,
took
too.
some inspiration from this. Maybe I could be totally wrong, but it just had that same vibe, and I love that vibe. It was very 80s, 90s creep.
Well, and I like that Chucky actually has somebody carrying him around instead of like in some other movies he has like the postal service deliver him. Well, then and in some of the movies he's just running around broad daylight. You're like, how did you ninja out of the box and then like running out in broad daylight? And the second one when he's like crawling up the bus.
Yeah, and it's
like you're like, what? Nobody saw this doll running
it's
around.
like nobody saw the 2.5-foot redhead doll just running across the room. Like,
but so that's why this one is a little bit more.
This one has a little more of a reality, if you will. I mean, it is a killer doll, but just a little bit more on if you were in a doll's body and you were a killer, you couldn't just go around doing everything.
Like, I didn't like the gas explosion because it's kind of weak. Like, I mean, Eddie was shooting everywhere by that moment, which is weird, but
it was an 80s blow up. You could.
I'll let you go, but it was creepy.
It totally has some vibes like an 80s action movie, like the opening, and then that explosion was just it felt like every buddy cop movie from the time.
Right. Well, and then like now the police find Andy because of the explosion, and that's when the mom has to go in and pick him up. She doesn't know he's there, but she gets a phone call from him, saying she needs to come in, and then that's where they take him for a few days because he's talking about the dolls, talking and stuff like that, and she goes home with the doll, and that's where this movie. It's like halfway through. I think that scene's probably the best scene in the movie though, when like the batteries drop out of the box.
Oh man!
And she picks him up and flips him, and she's like, she opens it up and it's not there, and the music key hits, and he turns his head around. Hi, I'm Chucky. You want to play? And she drops the doll, and he like rolls like under that weird fake like loosey goosey roll under the couch. And she's an idiot again. She bends down and looks under the couch, and I'm like, you're gonna lose an eye.
She bends down, and lucky for her, I guess Chucky still wanted to play dead.
Right.
And she grabs him, picks him up, and is like, I'm going to throw you in the fire. First off, don't tell him. Let's just start there. Do not tell him what you're going to do with him. Just throw him in. And then, I mean, I've seen
explain it to Andy later.
Yeah, no, it's, sorry, your good guy doll died. We'll never buy you another.
But he goes nuts on her, and the unspoken rule, kind of Chucky is that he has, like, a real, I don't know, like a full-grown man's strength. Yeah. But they never really say it. He just uses it.
He also gets stronger throughout the film, I noticed. Like, he exercises, like, small bites and things like that. Right. Chucky's a biter. Like, that's flat out. Through this whole franchise, he is a biter. But throughout this movie, it's like the more damaged he got, the more Hulk smash he got. It was crazy. Like, once he's burnt, like, he's moving like Terminator. Like, it's awesome.
All right, and then he goes down the elevator and, they tussle for a second, and then he leaves. That's when he goes back to the precinct, and Chucky was following him because he said that when he got shot by him, he said, I'm going to get you and I'm going to get Eddie. So he's got Eddie, now he's after
the officer.
And
Norris, Officer Norris.
Right.
Not Chuck.
Right. Not really.
No, not quite.
Chucky wouldn't stand a chance.
No, well,
no.
It would make a good
Chuck
meme.
Norris. Ah! Anyway. But yeah, that car scene was intense too. That's not as good as the mom, I think, but it's good.
Yeah, the stabs through the seat. I think this is maybe the first time I had seen a film that tried to play on that. Like you're in the front seat, and I was little when I saw it. Yeah. So I'm like, oh no, and then he gets under the seat and goes for the crotch.
And I let this one go because I don't think in a car like that you'd be able to get that, like, between Chucky's little arm and that big old knife. I don't know how well you could really get the blade to go straight up. But I'm going to let it go because it's awesome. He has to, like, hold himself up and drive.
Now, and when they crash, when he finally crashes and Chucky's, like, doing the dance around the car, my only problem here is Norris takes one shot at Chucky and then just, like, relaxes. Like, he just gives up and stops. Like, I know you're tired, but you got to get up. Like,
well, I think he had a concussion. But no, so he's on his back. And then Chucky runs at him and misses and runs out the car. And I never realized this before when I went back and rewatched it. If you listen after, when Chucky's running around, so he takes a swipe at him with the knife. And then he comes back and creepy slow motion grabs the knife.
Oh, yeah.
And he runs around he runs around the car, like slashing the car, making that scratchy noise, almost like Freddy Krueger, and that part is good.
Yeah, that's very good.
And then he gets shot, and he's just like, man, that was.
But then at that point, Officer Norris just stops, and I'm just like, what, dude? Like, I know you're tired, you may be messed up, but like, if anything has taught you anything about horror movies, if you have that moment of silence, you got to double tap.
Right.
So you get up out that car and you go shoot him again.
Right, but I think he looked and he was gone. Like, because Chucky's super quick.
Yeah, but he just, I don't know. He just gave up, and that to me was like...
I chalk it up to a concussion.
Yeah.
I chalk it up.
That's fair. But still an incredible scene.
But it just, this film really rolls well, because then he goes into his voodoo friend that taught him everything he knows, and he says, I got shot, and it hurt me. Because in the car, when he was chasing, or when he's toying with the detective, he's like, "You can't hurt me." And then he gets shot, and he's like, "Whoa, what's happening?"
Hurt. He's like, "That hurt like a mother." Yeah, it was. And he's like, "Well, you're turning human." And he's like, "Wait, what? I didn't think that was a thing."
Well, and I like that he was like, "You've become an abomination. You've perverted everything I've taught you, and you must be stopped." And that's sweet when he's got the voodoo doll. There's a name for it. He says it. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
But then, he's got that awesome voodoo knife with the skull on it, which is, it's in here, and it looks awesome. It's my favorite thing he probably ever uses. The voodoo knife, the red with the design. God, that thing's cool. And then, unfortunately, he ends up torturing him until he gives up first person you tell your secret to.
You have to transfer your soul to them, and then you're good. And he's like, I'm going to be a 7-year-old boy again.
Right, well then he takes the doll and like snaps his arm. That noise and the twitch of the arm, well done.
They did a great job, especially for 1988.
Right. Like, to the house for the final scene though, like that's where this movie just goes for broke. They put out all the stops. It's super creepy.
Expense with this, like it was.
I mean, he's running around from door to door, and the mom's trying to stop it, and they got the classic. I mean, I'm sure it's been done through 5 movies by this time, but the knife through the door thing.
Yeah,
and it's getting closer and closer
to your face.
And the mom is that's a good actress right there.
Yeah,
she really is freaked out.
And Andy at this point is also doing really good. Like, by this point, I like Andy.
This is the end, friend.
That line was the most badass line you could have delivered for a final line. Like, it's just great. I mean,
I feel like the cop comes in there and just gets whooped. Like, he gets stabbed and cut and hit with the baseball bat and knocked out, and like
the most trained person in the room wound up just getting knocked out by a 2-foot, 40-pound doll.
That's the thing about Chucky, is like he's just so fast that everybody underestimates him, and all of a sudden he's got the upper hand on you.
Oh yeah.
So then this is the end friend. He sets him on fire, and he's burning and twirling. And then they think he's done, and they go get the first aid kit to take care of the cop who can't handle it. But no, so then Andy looks over and realizes that Chucky's gone, and that's a good scene. Like, that music cue hits again.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the smoke is still there.
He got some fake out deaths, and usually with fake out slasher deaths, it's like, come on, bro, we know what's happening.
Right before that, who shoots him in the leg?
Was it Mom?
I think so. Like, they shoot him in the leg, and that twirl before that twirl he has was phenomenal. I love that in this movie when they shoot the doll and like stuff like that when he gets hit. Like I like how like floppy he goes. It just looks
And
really doll-like.
This is something they continue throughout the franchise.
Right.
But
this movie does it the best. I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's also because this is. I don't know if it is for you. It's the first time I saw a Chucky movie was the first one.
Yeah.
And for me, like that it stuck with me. That's the ending section.
Well, that in the herky jerky like the movements, I like it because it's kind of like doll-like and it's it's methodical and creepy and thought out and it's like they make like a screeching plastic when he moves and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was intentional or that's just part of the animatronics, but I thought that was a great little add-on.
It's definitely.
I could see where I wouldn't like it. Like if another person would bug them, like because it might take you out of the movie. But for me, it adds to that.
Kind of like RoboCop. Like there are some people who hate the noises that RoboCop makes when he moves, and there's other people that are like, "Oh yes,
right, yeah, no, I love it,
yeah."
So he's on fire, and now he's coming after Andy with that awesome knife, and he's still like smoking.
Oh yeah, and the smoke looks so good. I know that the tricks are probably really simple to do, but it just looks so good. It's like, don't touch him, he's hot.
Right. And then the mom shoots him, like the arm goes flying, I think, and then the leg goes flying, then he loses another leg, and he's still coming, and then no. Arm, leg, and then shoots the head off.
Yeah. And then he stops.
And then she shoots him in the back twice. So I think there's an unlimited ammo on that.
And then she's standing there just pulling the trigger with nothing happening.
Right, and just barely misses the heart. She shoots him kind of like here and here.
And then the second detective walks in.
Right.
And he's like, what's going on here? No, it can't be a doll. And
I like that comic relief. Like, it wasn't over the top.
Yeah, no, he walks in and he's just like, I don't believe you that this doll is doing this. So he grabs Chucky's head from down the hallway.
Pokes him?
Yeah, he pokes it just like maybe just in case.
And the sound is great. Sounds great. Sounds like a doll.
And then he brings it and sets it on the dresser and he's like, you mean to tell me? And then Chucky starts screaming and the body comes rolling in.
No, it comes through the vent.
Yeah, that's right. It comes through the vent.
This is actually my one complaint about the movie. The big complaint. Like there's some knick-knacky stuff, but this is like Chucky could hardly move without. Like, I think he had one leg and no arms. No, one arm, and he was missing one leg and one arm. Yeah, missing one leg, one arm. Somehow, in the, 15 seconds, he was able to ninja into the vent, come all the way around, and get that guy. And that's doing it blind. Maybe, I mean, I don't know if the power of voodoo.
Maybe he had a time machine and played a lot of Arkham City.
Right.
I don't know.
But, I mean, you got to look past it. If you look past it, it's good. But it's just that's something that happens.
When he comes out of the vent, though, it's shocking.
Right.
Like you're like,
ugh! And he really does look like he's clamping him really good. You actually see the red mark. They did a good job actually showing you some most time people get hurt in movies, you never see a scratch on them. Yeah, this you actually see the red on his throat, which adds to that.
And when it's all said and I don't remember how did they.
So he's got the detective by the throat. He grabs him and throws him across the room. And that's when the detective shoots him in the heart, I believe.
Yes,
the one that was
the mom's like, shoot him in the heart, which I want to know how she knew.
Well, it's because the voodoo guy before he died.
That's right, the voodoo guy told them. And then
her, because he was on the phone with the police. She was telling he was telling her. Okay, so ranking, Caleb, what would you rank it?
The first Child's Play for me is probably the definitive Chucky movie, so I'm going to have to go with a solid 9. Now, I do feel like ranking a Chucky movie a 10 is probably kind of a bad idea in general, just says something about you as a human. But this movie, definitely a solid 9. It was dark, it was gritty, and it established what we know and love as Chucky.
But for a Chucky movie, you give it a 10.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But overall enjoyment and everything else is 9.
Yeah.
But as far as Chucky goes, it's a 10.
Yeah, this would definitely be the top performance for a Chucky film, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think this is tough. Okay. So this is really difficult for me. I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8.
All right.
It's it shines when it comes to the horror, where some of the rest of them don't. And it takes itself really serious, where as we go on, it tends to be less and less.
Yeah, definitely. It has that factor that it stays horror.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8, but I'm with Caleb on this. I'm gonna give it a 10 in the Chucky movies overall.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Kind of a weird little, but yeah, you have to. It's the same with Leprechaun. If you're gonna rank a Leprechaun movie a 10, it better only be as far as a Leprechaun movie goes.
So stick with us, guys, in honor of the new Child's Play movie that's coming out. We're going to finish the rest of the series. So we're going to have those reviews coming up shortly. Make sure and like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can get some more R&R. Till next time, JK out.